All right, episode 41. Today, we're going to talk about, are you wanting to become successful? Then you're going to want to tune in today to hear all about this top secret success formula on how to become successful. Secrets. Join us right now.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to, with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
All right, everyone. It is a nice, cold day.
My skin still feels so invigorated.
It does.
You guys look like very invigorated.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm
It
telling
was
you,
like a spa treatment.
it was cool. It was very, very cool.
So we're talking about why, one, actually, I'm not in my normal Good Home Team polo and
Yeah.
backwards hat.
If you guys haven't checked out Matt Kelderman or Nick Good's Facebook pages,
Yeah, go
they
check
just
it out.
got all wet.
I'll let me take you a little backstory. So, I'm in Florida, Key West. By the way, can we get on Brian on this? Like, he's got the Macklemore
Give us like
jacket on.
the long view.
Yeah,
out
look
here.
at this jacket, man.
We're a couple minutes late today, not because of anything really. We all had stuff going on, right? And we're kind of rushing around. But Brian came running in here like a Burberry fashion model
Yeah.
with his sweet scarf and the animal he just murdered to make a jacket out of.
Yeah.
It's a liger.
He's easily the fanciest person on this show.
Yes.
Easily.
I don't know if that's a huge hill to climb.
It's not. You just got to put pants on.
And if you look at my closet, it's just black TGHT polos and jeans.
I love that,
right?
dude.
Right? But a little backstory of why Matt and I were freezing our asses off today. So I'm in Key West at a mastermind, and I had to fly back yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday, and had to fly back to come to this Real Producers event. And as I'm headed to the airport yesterday in shorts and T-shirt, and it's nice. I think it was like 80 degrees there, nice and warm, coming back to freezing temperatures.
Right.
I get this notification on there that I was called out by our good buddy Jason Northcutt.
It jumped off like
Super
out
fast.
of nowhere. All of
Yeah.
a sudden, everybody's like, let's do this thing.
Yeah, so we were, this Real Producers event that we were talking about was social media topics, and they were raising money for a veterans,
Yep.
Gold Star Monument veterans or something.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I know we botched it up. I want to make sure we give it the right shout
absolutely. So while you're looking that up, so it was at this resort, this clubhouse that had a lazy river, and someone threw out the idea. I think it was Jason Northcutt, that for $100, he'll throw $100 down if Jordan, the host of the Real Producers event, would jump in the pool. And so, of course, Jordan, being the dude that he is, was like, all right, if you can get other people to do it with me and raise over $1,000, then we'll go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Right? And so Jason Northcutt calls me out. Then I do a Facebook Live. I call out my good friend Matt Kelderman here. And I was waiting for Matt to call Brian into this.
I wanted to. I knew Brian had a full day. Here was the thing is, I actually will admit that I just decided to donate to try and get out of this whole situation, and it totally backfired. Like, I was like, I'll donate money and then call out Nick Good. That'll be funny.
Then
and then
just spread
all
way
of a
more
sudden, like, I
awareness.
got like, you look at your phone, it says 9+ on your notification on
Yeah.
Facebook. I was like, what the hell? And I go and like, I'm tagged in some live video Nick did, and he's like, now Matt needs to jump in with me. So all of a sudden yesterday at like, what is it, 4 o'clock? I mean, it's going to be 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
Here's the dopest thing about this, and we got the name of it right here, and I'm going to mangle it, so I don't want to. It's the Gold Star Family Monument Project. So Noe De Leon, a really cool agent who I actually worked with at a brokerage called Seda Realty when I first got into real estate. They have since sold to Berkshire Hathaway. Steve Goth is an old RE/MAX guy, really cool guy. But very candidly, new real estate agents, I joined that brokerage straight up because you close 2 deals, they give you a free iPad. I still have that iPad, by the way. So like that was my initial like value
Is that all it
prop.
takes?
Yeah.
I can
Dude,
totally
that was the initial
implement that.
value prop. I was
Damn.
like, and I had some friends who were there, so I was like, whatever, right? But great brokerage, dude did very, very well. But I met Noe there, and he's a Marine, always been a big time veteran guy. So this is a veteran based charity thing. And then so when Noe put it out yesterday, and those guys were all doing it, and then Nick tagged me in, and I was like, all right, well, We're jumping in some cold ass water today.
Yeah, first off, like it's for veterans, right? So
Yeah, it's cool.
it's for families that had military members that died, that had passed away,
Right.
in I believe in wartime, right? And so, I mean, look, how do you say no to that? First off,
Yeah.
and we're only jumping in this cold pool we're in it less than 15. At least I probably was in it less than 15 seconds.
Bro, you guys hear us talk about Elizabeth Austin on this a lot. Go find her on Facebook and look at her live video that she got of Nick jumping in. That dude jumped out of the pool like he had springs for legs. Like Stephen Crawford, you always clown Nick for not doing leg day. Bro, he dominated me. He
Yeah.
was easily the first guy out of the pool when his ass hit that cold water.
Dude, it's from all the Stairmaster episodes. So Crawford, I do legs, I just don't do squats.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So hey, today we're going to talk about the top secret formula to become successful.
Yep.
At least that what I learned in this mastermind group that I was a part of through the National Association of Expert Advisors. And then we wanted to talk about something that was on our Tour Academy Mastermind Zoom call on Monday that we do twice a month. So if you're not part of our Tour Academy, maybe you're struggling to get in front of more sellers. Maybe you're struggling to convert them or what to say to them to actually agree to an appointment, because in order to convert them, you got to get them to agree to meet with you,
I would
right?
think.
I think so. I mean, at least that's what we do.
That's
right?
the way it's worked for me.
So if you want to learn how both of our businesses are taking over 10 plus listings every single month, just go to touracademy.com/take10 TEN and sign up for the free webinar. And from there, I do know we are running that $1 special to become a part of Tour Academy.
$1.
$1. So go do it right now. And then, of course, be a part of our Facebook group, the only real estate group worth being a part of. And so we were talking on that Zoom call about Matt's pipeline, how, the size of that is actually very embarrassing right now.
It really is, right? Like, here's the thing, right? 7 years in, I still enjoy the real estate roller coaster, apparently. I don't understand what the hell my problem is, right? But here's what I realized. So I've been doing a lot of really in-depth coaching lately. So you guys know I was part of the Project U stuff, doing some high-level coaching. Brian and I have people who coach us individually on our business for 30 minutes a week. We have people who coach us as individuals there's just a lot of coaching going on in our world, right? And so I was out of the gym for 5 months.
By the way, let me interrupt you real quick. I see both of our. I'm going to call him a good buddy now.
Yeah, dude, I'm so glad you got to meet
Joe Rosen. I met Joe Rosen.
I know, I'm so stoked.
Yep, I met Joe in Key West. So.
I got a late night text from Joe of a selfie with him and Nick, and I was like, "Damn, I'm so jealous."
Yeah. and
he,
dude,
Joe Rosen's, he got a taco shout out once.
yes.
This dude is.
dude, Joe Rosen's on it. If you are
famous.
in Port St. Lucie or like that area, like legitimately, if this show is finally reached like outside the borders of DFW,
Which it has.
reach out to my man Joe.
I think we're international.
We are international.
Yeah.
I know Lucy Parky listens to us in Dubai.
Yeah. I know the Canadian. I know a lot of Canadian agents that are listening as well. So go. I'm sorry to interrupt that.
No,
but
no, you're
had to
fine.
call it Joe.
So here's the thing, right? Like, we all know that our pipeline isn't being filled with the calls we make today.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's just not the way it works. The odds of if you've sold any amount of real estate, let me tell you a little story, new real estate agents, and then old real estate agents chime in with how right I am about this. If you're a new real estate agent and somebody's trying to convince you they're going to pick up the phone tomorrow and find business on Friday, they are lying to you. The odds of that legitimately happening, even if you are calling expireds, the sexiest of hotness, the odds of you legitimately having business 24 hours later is about zero, right? So let's acknowledge the fact that the work that you are doing 90 days ago, 120 days ago, is absolutely going to show up huge in your business. And
Which I don't know why that's a shock to people, by the way.
I don't think it's
like,
a shock.
what other entrepreneurial field where you start on day one and get paid on day two?
Do we have a breaking news sound?
I know. Dun, 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 dun. We need to get some good sounders.
I'll work on it.
Nice,
Dun, dun,
nice.
dun.
Dee's going to hook us up.
Obvious.
I think the problem is it's not so much that agents believe that. I think they're being sold that, right? And, and a lot of agents don't last in the business long enough to know that that's bullshit. So they just end up getting caught up in like this trap of thinking like, oh, real estate's the easiest thing. I'll get my license. Like we've talked about that a million times.
Right.
The reality is, let me talk to you about what's legitimately like the reality of it. If you slack off in July and August, your October and November will suck.
Yep.
You know, I know that because it's happening to me. And the reality is, at the end of the day, if you think that the activity that you do today is going to bring you business tomorrow, that is incorrect.
Yep.
The consistency of activity over time will bring you business in a litany of ways that you don't even expect.
Yep.
And I think as agents, we get too caught up in expecting the calls that we make today to turn into business tomorrow, so then we get disappointed when that appointment we set canceled, right? Like I still run a lot of listing appointments with our agents. There were 3 of them set between Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. You know how many listing appointments I went on? 1. I went on 1 because that one held, and it was almost an hour and a half away, and we got it, right? The reality is, and Nick's talked about this before, when you're setting a high level of appointments, if your appointment to cancellation ratio is less than like 70%, you're probably not setting enough appointments, or more than 70%. You're probably not setting enough appointments, right? And Nick even has probably a different number than that for the amount you guys send. But I think realistically, what we've got to remember as agents, and what we told the people who have signed up for the Tour Academy stuff, there's no real secret sauce. If you're not doing the work 3 months ago, your business is going to feel it when you don't want it to. So as we sit here and talk about business planning for 2020, and you're like, January 1st, I'm going to get my shit together. You are all yes.
I love
that
it.
is glorious.
Oh man, I'm gonna be abusing that.
We
I'm
are
gonna be
gonna.
like breaking news all the time.
If you are worried about what your business is going to look like in February, like if you're worried right now and you think that like, hey, I don't have any business right now and I'm not doing any lead generation, I have nothing in the pipeline, but I'll be fine as long as I start lead generating on January 1, understand that what you're saying is, I don't actually plan on closing anything until
March, maybe
March,
probably
April.
At the earliest. March.
Right?
Yeah, April was really more like it, and that's if you really get your shit together in January.
Yep.
Because the reality is, we all say we're starting January 1st. We start about January 15th. Sure. By the time you get back into the swing of things, there's shitty weather the first couple of weeks of January. You're 100% right, dude. I'll put it to you this way, right? Like we had a great team meeting yesterday. We have our team meetings on Tuesday, right? Matt and I are about to invest a massive amount of more money and more of our P&L into advertising and marketing for our agents. We've expanded rapidly.
We already spend a lot.
We already spent a shitload, yeah. And we have been fortunate enough to partner with a lot of really awesome agents lately, and our team is growing, and so we have to up our marketing budget. That's more leads for the agents. They earned it. That's more deals that are going to be closing if they nurture them properly. Same thing. It's not going to be overnight. These things need, any lead has got a life cycle. It needs to be nurtured. But, we have accountability in place as well. We put some accountability standards in place at our team meeting yesterday, and from me and Matt's perspective, we went over them in for a whole week before we had this team meeting, and talking about how do we monitor this, how do we track this, how do we make sure that the agents are doing what's best for them, and we're able to pour into them at a high level. And we put these accountability standards in place. I've had a long day. I've been floating around in different offices, meeting with different people. Tuesday's a very meeting heavy day for me. I already know there's grumblings about our accountability standards. I hear it. Those of you on the team watching the podcast, I hear it. I know there's grumblings. I know not everybody likes the accountability standards. I know not everybody likes the fact that they have a chance of getting their leads shut off if they're not hitting certain metrics and they're not putting forth a certain amount of effort. Here's the deal. Every one of our accountability standards, and this is just the real truth, the raw truth, our accountability standards by my standard, by Matt's standard, are pretty fucking low.
They're pretty Psych 101.
They're pretty it's not a Herculean effort. The reality is myself and Matt especially, people that are in the top 1% in realtors in this state, are looking at these standards and going, duh. Like, if you're not doing at least this, you will be out of the business eventually at some point anyway, right? And here's the thing. We have these standards in place because we want to continue to pour into our team, continue to help them with more opportunity, continue to see their careers advance and grow. But even the things that we are putting in place, a lot of the little grumblings that I hear about it are because people a lot of times don't have the patience to see them work.
Sure.
Like, our accountability standards are not, you guys do this and next week your lives are going to be changed. It is, you guys are in this for a career. This is a long-term, we are pouring into you for what hopefully is a lifetime of being in this business. This is where it starts, right? And you got to make these the habits, and then you'll grow. You'll grow. But, and the only reason I say that is because we have the benefit of hindsight, right? I think one of the hardest things to translate, and I don't know why there's just something very human about this. There is. I see some of our team members are tuned in. What's up, guys? One of the hardest things to translate is hindsight. It's just almost impossible, right? It's very difficult for somebody like Matt Kelderman to sit there and go, guys, this stuff that we're asking you to do, I'm telling you, it will work. I'm telling you because I've been there. I'm telling you because I've ridden the roller coaster. I'm telling you because I had to start from somewhere too. I'm telling you because it's going to be a grind, but it's going to come through. It's going to be worth it. Like, it's very, very difficult on a human level for me to sit there and go, look, here's what my first 2 years in real estate looked like. Here's how I became Rookie of the Year when I was one of the youngest people at the office with no money, no guidance, a few years of bartending experience, and a whole bunch of self-destructive habits. Right? And then here's how I blew it all in year 2. Here's how I built it all back up. And here's how we built this path to where we are today. And for people to go, okay, boom, that's awesome. I'm doing that. That's awesome. Like, I'm following that path. Because the next day when things get hard and when you get cussed out a lot and when you get hung up on or when people just aren't answering the phone or you're facing a lot of challenges that you're not quite sure how to navigate or just doesn't feel like things are working, right? When you hit that first roadblock, it's really difficult to go, Brian might be full of shit. It's understandable, right? It's super understandable because I've been that way about other things, right? I have been that way in our other businesses, Tour Academy, the investment side of things, right? When I've been flipping houses or doing all sorts of stuff, it's been easy for me to look at people that are way along the way on chapter 25 and I'm on chapter 1 and be like, you know what? That might have worked for him, but times have changed. That dude doesn't know shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I get that. There's something very human about that. It's also probably not the case. The case probably is it's just really hard to succeed in real estate, but if you follow a proven path, it will work.
I've said this before on some episodes, and you and I have a larger following now than we did when I used to say this, but Brian and I went on a listing appointment one time. It was like 2 hours away. And I had this weird epiphany because, like, Brian likes to read, and books might as well be like kindling for me, right? Like, it just doesn't really matter. But we were talking about something, and I said something to Brian, and the second I said it and I heard his response, I immediately felt like such a small-minded person. Because as I'm talking about books, I'm like, the thing that annoys me about a lot of these success books is like they're all saying the same thing, right? Like, I was pissed off that all the successful people were saying the same thing, whereas Brian was like, yeah, that's the roadmap, dipshit. like they're all saying the same thing because, like,
can you imagine how frustrating people? They all said something different.
They wrote a book, and I'm looking for somebody to tell me some other easier thing. Right. So, like, look, if you read books and hear people say the same thing, you know why that is? Because the top 1% all does the same thing.
Can you imagine another real estate professional beside, like, here's the thing. We don't say anything profound on this show usually. The information that we are providing, you can talk to a million other people that are on the same or higher levels than we are of success in real estate, and there are plenty of people at way higher levels of success than us. And you know what they're going to say about building a real estate business? A lot of the same shit that we do, right?
Well, so you bring that up. I mean, so again, that mastermind I'm part of.
Yeah.
So Veronica Figueroa out of Miami, she'll sell over 2,000 homes next year, right? They're not doing anything special other than they do. They have a little help now because they're the Zillow offers. But before that, I mean,
that's one little implementation. That's not.
So, but that comes from already having success, right? Like, it's not like they were hey, new agent who sold 700 houses or 7 houses.
I'll put it this way: anything that anybody's doing or any team is doing that you don't have probably came from them doing shit that you do have at a high level.
100%.
You know.
Well, and let's kind of talk about one. Let's go over that success championship formula. And then we can dissect what we just broke down here, right? So at this mastermind, they had Joey Gilbert there, and he was a middleweight champion. Right, middleweight boxer champion.
Brian
and we should set that up.
If you can find a time machine so I could turn 25 again, I'll gladly do it.
I think he's in his 40s.
Okay, well,
punch him in his mind for us.
Yeah. And so his story, right? He's not a real estate agent. He's a middleweight championship boxer who then became an attorney.
Oh.
Right? Oh, yeah. You didn't think that was
not a transition that happens often, I can tell you.
No.
Boxer to lawyer.
Yeah. No, right? And so his thing is he's just like when he was training in boxing and everything else. And this kind of goes with your mindset, Brian. See, he's like, here's the championship success formula. Make the move. Yep. Whatever's stopping you, first off, make the move.
Yeah.
Right? Then bust your ass and don't procrastinate. Do what you say you're going to do. Right? And then there's no place for a victim mindset.
Yeah.
And so how many times? So if we would break this down, and I see this a lot from the newer. I see this from all agents in general. But whether they get into the business and they join a brokerage, right? There's a it's called the emotional cycle of change, which we can go over that at another time. But they're all excited, and they come in, they're all excited, and then all of a sudden nothing happens. Right? They say they're going to do all this, then nothing happens, right? They procrastinate anyway. They know, they hear lead generate, but then they're like, what does that mean? They don't do the research. They don't take the initiative to research how to truly build this business.
That is 100% true. And here's you hit the nail on the head. That, and then another avenue is, look, nobody said this shit is easy. I will guarantee you it gets easier and easier and easier. A lot of it is the give up factor, right? A lot of it is the I'm only getting landlines, or I'm getting a lot of wrong numbers today, or people are being mean to me, right?
So victim mindset.
They're a little bit, right?
That's 100%.
And here's the thing: when we talk about victim mindset, I don't want it to sound like a mean thing. Like if you're tuning into this podcast right now and you're feeling a little bit of that tug in your heartstrings right now, or like that little bit of a pull in the pit of your stomach, and they're like, those guys are assholes because they're talking about me. Like, realize we're not doing this to be mean, right? What we're saying is that victim mindset is everything is supposed to work because I'm doing it, so it should work right now, all the time, right? There's not going to be any obstacles because I'm following the plan. The plan is there for you to follow to give you the easiest possible path to overcome the hardships that will inevitably come along the way regardless.
Yep. And I like to be your friendly neighborhood voice of reason in this show. And I will tell you right now, I had a coaching call with my coach today, and we were talking about actually some financial stuff, right? Like getting some things in order, planning for 2020, figuring out some ways to make me, the Matt Kelderman business, way more profitable, right? And part of that, and she was, and now this is a person that I have about 5 people in my life who allow me to hold accountable, and this is probably one of my top 2 people.
Yeah.
Right. And it's an aspect of my life that I don't do very well in. Very candidly, if you follow me on Facebook or even listen to the show, me and money don't do super well together. A really, really bizarre.
So if they're
relationship
listening to
with
the
it.
show right now, then they are listening.
If you're listening to the show right now, you're hearing the words I'm saying to your faces.
We've talked about this before, guys. It's just part of the matrix. Nothing matters.
It is. But the reality is, I think what I was really talking to her about today.
I can always tell when Derek's laughing because his head starts bobbing up and down over those computer monitors.
I've got the perfect view. I can always see Derek's actual
I just
eyeballs.
hide behind this thing so you can't tell most of the time.
I love it. I love it. I think the really cool thing that she said was there was a lot of it that was uncomfortable for me to hear. And here's the thing about accountability, guys. Like, it's such a stupid buzzword that kind of annoys me because it gets left in the dust of people like wanting to tune out. But the real reality is, like, nobody, 0 human beings are going to make you do the thing you want to do, right? Like, they're just not.
Can we go down? Can we go down? Break something in a deeper dive on what you just said in terms of. You talk to probably the one of the 2 people that you respect the most and hold you accountable. So when we opened up that mastermind, John Kitchens, who's an amazing coach, right? He says, and I wrote these down purposely for our group.
Yep.
And we didn't talk about this on the Zoom call, so I'm actually glad that this came about. And so they asked, does this group increase my awareness of who I am, where I am, and what I have to do?
Yep.
Right? Does the group inspire me to take action based on my new awareness?
Yeah, that's
and
big.
Does the group offer accountability for actions I commit to talking to or to commit to taking?
Yep.
Right? And so that actually nails what you're talking about. And so we all need to figure out who is that group?
Yep.
Is that Tour Academy? Is that the only Facebook group, the only real estate group worth being a part of? Almost broke it down.
I know, right?
Right? Is that the brokerage you're with? Is that your spouse?
I think it has to be deeper than that, right? Like, I think because there should only be a couple people. This is just the same thing we talk about with the know, like, and trust of clients for us. I reached out to this person about my finances and was like, very much like the fitness side of my life. I realized in the last week and a half that I'm not accountable to myself fitness-wise at all. I'm accountable to one person, and I'm accountable to the fact that it costs me money.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's what makes me get up and go work out. That's what made me go get on the stupid elliptical for 30 minutes today. May not be impressive to you guys, but I hate the elliptical so much. So 30 minutes was ridiculous, right? Like,
makes my feet go numb.
I know. It's just stupid. My butt cheeks start hurting. I just don't like any of it. I know. I do the glutes move. But either way, the whole point is I didn't work out for 5 months because of 2 things. 1, I didn't have my person. And 2, I wasn't paying for it. The second I cut a check and that person was back in my freaking world again, I have been back every single day since then. It's the same thing with whatever you've got. I'm not saying you need to hire a trainer or pay money. I know that that's not an option for everybody. But the reality is if you don't have people that you are allowing to hold you accountable and you are waiting for somebody just to walk up and be like, hey, I have this really great accountability measure that's going to all of a sudden make you like this like sexy domesticated wet dream of yourself, like that's not going to happen, right? Like you have to work to be that person.
Yep.
You really do.
You're right. It needs to be deeper because that's the thing. Like, and this is why I think high-level real estate teams, like we're blessed enough to be a part of and run work at a high level, or what is a part of a part of making them successful is the presence of wealth determiners in that relationship, right? Like you've got to you will be accountable to the people in your life that are wealth determiners. And I know that sounds like very not Scrooge McDuck. Who's the rich one? Moneybags McDuck. I can't remember.
Scrooge is rich. He just doesn't. He's like penny pinches.
No.
Is that the one that
Are you talking about DuckTales?
Duck? Is it who's the rich McDuck?
Isn't it Scrooge?
I thought it was Scrooge McDuck.
He's the grumpy one. Derek, look it up. Not the point. Anyway.
Cripple Beans clown.
Okay, I'm getting clowned in the comments now. This has been a bad
he's wearing
30
a Burberry
seconds.
scarf. He's yelling at our producer. He's the most bougie first world bastard
real
ever.
Tough 30 seconds for me. God, what the fuck was I saying? Anyway, the reason the relationship works is because, just like Nick's business, our business is set up that the wealth determiners in my life are our agents.
Yep.
I have a vested interest in doing what is best for them, giving them the most opportunity, the most resources, and holding them accountable at a high level, right? And me and you are wealth determiners in their life, right? We are charged with the task of helping them grow, putting accountability measures in place that, look, they might not like all the time, but we know at a high level of performance is what's required, right? Because we've been there, done that, and now we're able to pass that on. And that's what that accountability sort of setup looks like, right? If we don't do our jobs, then our team isn't going to do their jobs because they're not going to have the ability to. They're not going to have the motivation to, and quite frankly, they're not going to have a reason to, right? And if they don't do their jobs and advance their careers and take the opportunities that our systems and operations provide, then they're not going to be hitting their goals either, right? And so that sort of two-way street, that wealth determiner relationship is what keeps both people accountable, right? And that's why I think it goes deeper than that. You have, like you said, you have 5 real people in your life that you're accountable to. I think I probably have, outside of our agents, which I'm accountable to every single day, for our business to operate. I think on a personal level, as far as my personal growth, it's really a small group of people, right?
100%.
It is a small group of people that are counting on me to be the best version of myself, and that is part of the personal journeys that I'm on with the Ironman training and that type of stuff. It is a small group of people that I've dedicated to. I'm going to be the best version of myself so that we can all grow together.
I'm accountable to a ton of people. I don't allow many people to hold me accountable.
That's right.
Right? Like, I'm accountable to my son. I'm accountable to the team. I'm accountable to, in a weird way, some of the people that we coach, right? Like, all these things. I'm accountable to all of them. Because here's the thing about accountability. It's showing up at 3 o'clock on Wednesday or 5 o'clock on Monday when we do the tour masterminds. Guys, there's no, like, it's not like my schedule's just clear, right? Like, to do the Monday masterminds with our Tour Academy stuff, I've got to pick Luke up early. I've got to find something for him to do for an hour. Why he moonwalks through the back of our video, right? To, like, get attention or whatever. It's awesome. But at the same time, like, there's an accountability that comes out. There's a structure to your day that comes with that. Like, all of this stuff doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? There's a whole lot of other things that are affected by it.
From a deep, like, if we're going to go deeper level meaning on that, though, one, your son gets to see that you're also you're doing what you say you're going to do.
Sure.
You're committing to that. And there's plenty of times when, and look, I'll give I'll go shout out on Brian on this one. Since everyone's hating on you today, I'll at least I'll fill your cup with a little bit of gratitude. Where you've been out of town, somehow you always schedule your flights back when the Zoom calls are supposed to happen, and Matt and I are like, no man, like we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And Brian's like, the fuck you are.
Yeah,
you're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And I'm like, all right. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, we're going to do it. Right? So again, it's just doing what we say we're going to do because we do have, clients of Tour that we owe it to them.
Yep, 100%.
Right? And if you're not a part of Tour, you're missing out on that. That is the most gold right there.
Yep.
Those twice a month Zoom calls. This is not supposed to be a pitch, but it's going to turn into a pitch. So go sign up at touracademy.com or go to listen to our listing webinar, touracademy.com/take10, TEN. That way you can see what we're talking about. Because that shit right there, that is us diving deeper in our businesses more than we do here.
Yep.
And it's tossing ideas around.
Yep.
Like this is the direction I think we're going to go. I mean, look what I have right here. This is my 2018. I have my 2018 still, my business planning stuff and how I'm going to do it, right? So I was going to be like, all right, for sellers, we're going to do 40 million. It's going to be 20 million in expired. It's going to be 5 million in for sale by owners. That was going to be 18 units. It was going to be 3 million or 12 closings from open houses. It's going to be 2 million and 8 units from sign calls, 10 million and 29 units from internet leads. Now, here's the thing. This was the GPS. We missed the mark.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? We missed the mark. And so, but this is something that, again, why you should be on Tour Academy, why you need to be on that Zoom, why you need to listen to this shit, every week.
Yep.
Put it on replay.
I'll tell you, a lot of our accountability standards come from our mastermind and stuff like that. A lot of the stuff that we put in place.
It comes from being in a specific place at a specific time and have a clue what you're talking about, right? Like, as an individual agent, maybe you don't run into that on a day-to-day basis as much, but you can put yourself in a position. Like, you can drive whatever train tracks you want to. Right, like if you're driving the one that's going through the backwoods and you never see anybody and never talk to anybody, that's fine. But I'm telling you right now, like there's not going to be more opportunity that pops up in your path if you're taking the path of least resistance. Like,
100%. And that's it's so true because, dude, I mean, all three of us, right? And this is, I mean, if our team members, a lot of them are watching, I'm sure this is, maybe this won't land super well with them. I hope that they understand and take this with a grain of salt. Like they said, it's really hard to really put that story out there. Like, dude, we came from the same place. I'm telling you, we've been through it. Because there are still, and I guarantee you for both of you there are as well, there are still days that I wake up and I get to the office and I just see how far we've come and how far I've come and what all I am responsible for now, and how much growth we've seen and the amount of success we've been blessed to have. And I still look around, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here?
yeah.
Like,
You should be surprised by where you're at.
Like I should be making rainbow shots and impressing people behind a bar somewhere still with my goofy tricks.
Yeah.
Like, how did I get here? It all goes by in a flash when you just grinded it out, man. Like you just do the stuff that's hard, and you do the stuff that you see. Like you wake up and you're like, oh, could I do this shit today? And you're like, oh, like, and then the shots just start falling. They just start going in.
There should be a sense of wonderment about your success, right? Like
100%.
I feel it a lot. Like there are so many times I've got, Kayla Ann on here. Like she just joined Rogers Healy here locally, but I used to work with her in the restaurant industry side of stuff. I just came from the restaurant that I used to work at for years. Like, dude, there are times when I look up and be like, dude, you barely graduated high school, dropped out of college twice, and are 40 years old and going through some shit. Like, you shouldn't be in such a set up position. And it's not that my life is set up. The reality is I'm probably going to work really hard.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to be afraid to just dive into whatever it is, right? Like even if it's as silly as jumping into a pool or something like that, that's indicative of your overall mindset, right? Like just being willing to embrace whatever's in front of you for whatever it leads to. And if you are looking for immediate dollar returns for your minutes spent, you don't have the right mindset to do this. You just don't. You're an hourly employee, man.
Well, I'll give Kayla, Kayla Ed, and so she came, I was at the restaurant 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And she just came up to me and introduced, she's like, I just got into real estate. Like, from that alone, like that's her taking initiative.
Yes.
Right? So from that, I mean, she, as long as she keeps pouring into herself, she will do huge.
And slight side note, restaurant industry people, real estate is the dopest transition from restaurant ever.
Yeah.
If you are a people person, and now look, if you're just the kind of person who goes and slams some plates on the table and asks people what they order, go back to Flo's house and start serving some pancakes. Scrooge McDuck is on our screen right now. That is glorious.
Oh, it is Scrooge. No, it's not. Is it Scrooge?
Come on, D, give us Scrooge.
I don't know what his name is.
Well, what the?
Couldn't find his name. I found his picture.
It's not. Can
Somebody
somebody
comment
comment and say who that is?
Right now, I see how many of you are watching. Somebody's got to know who this guy is.
It's not.
It's the DuckTales guy.
I know
it is
it's the
Scrooge
DuckTales.
McDuck. It's
Scrooge McDuck is a guy, but I don't know that that's him. Who's the rich McDuck?
It's Scrooge, dude.
Okay, maybe if it's Scrooge and I'm wrong, then whatever. We just wasted a whole bunch of time then.
We did, but I just, like I said, restaurant industry people, real estate, man, it is just.
Wasn't restaurant people like 100% commission anyway? You're making $2
basically,
an hour.
you're making $2.13 an hour. Last I checked,
and it all goes to taxes.
Yeah, so
right?
it's 100%. It's 100% commission basically. So
here's the deal, like, if you're listening to this and you're going, like, I'll give you a story, right? This is the perfect way to do it. Like, I was sitting on a couch 3 months ago. So I closed 3 deals for the same seller last month. Dude was from California. I've never met him in person. He had 3 properties to sell. He was interviewing 5 agents. He came through one of our expired texts. So I called him up, sent him our marketing plan. We talked for a while. He was in, like I said, he was interviewing 5 agents versus 4 other agents and me, interviewing 5 agents total. I was sitting at the hookah bar. This is like September, and I sent him our marketing plan. I said, call me back in a half hour. I'll call you back in a half hour. When you've had a second to look over it, we'll talk, right? He was doing a 1031 exchange. So we were talking through that, how the timing worked. I was like, you could do this, this, or this. You've got 40 days to identify, blah, 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 180 days to close. You could do a reverse exchange if we don't sell it, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Like, I was sort of just like, I got off the phone and we got, like, he's like, send me the paperwork, I got, and we got the listings and all that type of stuff. I don't know where Matt's going. So I'm like, my story is just like tailing off now because there's so much movement happening in the room right now. Anyway, we ended up getting the listings, and there was a moment there after we closed, these deals that I was just like, dude, I was like, where did all that come from? Like, when did I learn all that shit? Like, I'm the dude, I'm the boy who cries when he's door knocking because people are mean to him. Like, I have so many times in the past. Like, that's where I came from. I was the dude who, like, couldn't afford Red X, door knocked all day. I didn't know what I was doing. I would come home in tears. Real estate was too hard, and I wanted to quit every single day. To now, like, you get to a point of, like, unconscious competence.
Yeah.
Where you don't even really know why you know what you know, but you just done it for long enough that, like, life is way easier. And it's because you did all the crap that seemed really, really, really hard for long enough that it gets way, way, way easier. And if you're lucky enough to be in business with people that have already been there and working with them and stuff, he's back. Like, that learning curve will be cut drastically. But I'm telling you, that's what's on the other side is you do that shit that you're supposed to do every single day, and you don't play the victim, and you don't act like it's too hard, and you don't act like there's supposed to be some sort of secret. I guarantee you those shots start dropping in a big, big, big way.
It's a snowball effect.
100%.
So, to answer your other question, Scott Scrooge McDuck.
His first name is Scott? There's no way. I already call bullshit.
Has an estimated net worth of $65.4 billion, topping over the estimated net worth of Bruce Wayne, who comes in at a $1.8 billion net worth.
He's got 65 times as much money as Bruce Wayne.
That guy's got to be the richest Scott who's ever existed.
Right? Does it show how he made it? Like, mostly commercial development, I assume?
So it doesn't. So at the time, this was in 2013, according to this Forbes article.
Okay. So he's well over 100 billion.
Yeah. So this makes him not just, in 2013, when this was written about Scott Scrooge McDuck, this makes him not only just the wealthiest on this list, in this Forbes list, but it also makes him at the time the 3rd richest man or duck in the real world.
Who's got more than $65 billion
coming in just
2013?
Carlos Slim and Bill Gates.
Okay.
Who the is Carlos Slim?
Carlos Slim is the Mexican
Mexico?
Empire who bought all the telecommunications. Like, he owned all the phone lines and all the cell phone services.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But I think something happened to where I don't see his name on that list anymore. But something that come up, speaking of 65 point whatever billion, of 65.4 billion. So something at this mastermind that really stood out, and this was so they brought in Brian Carruthers, who's big in prepaid legal, the network marketing, wrote Building an Empire, and then they also brought in Jefferson Santos, who built out a 1 million person downline in World Ventures. Right?
Jeez.
What does that even look like? 1 million person downline.
Wow. That's a lot of people. Right?
So, how are 1 million people into whatever you're selling?
Right.
I mean, World Ventures looks cool. You become a travel agent and get to "you should be here" type slogan, and you get to travel around the world. And
that is insane.
That's awesome.
Pretty dope.
But Jefferson talked about your current income is based on your current skill set. So if you're not happy with your current income, what do you need to do? You need to increase that skill set, right? That's all
fair.
about learning. And Jefferson talked about, this was yesterday, Tuesday, and he talked about what successful people are, who they are, right? They're enthusiastic, right? They're adventurous, they're persistent, they have an adventurous spirit, So jumping in the water, I'm going to count that as adventurous, right?
Yeah.
Jumping in the
I
water.
think we're
when
all
it's
that.
freaking freezing.
You guys put your life on the line today.
I
Could've
did.
had a heart attack.
I did. The gift to get over it, right? So I mean that's kind of big. You suck at it, but you don't suck at it. Because here's the thing: if you sucked at it, then you wouldn't be in business today, especially in the real estate business. Because
that's
how many
true.
times have people said they were going to do something like use you, and then all of a sudden they didn't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right?
absolutely.
Right. Faith. Right. And they have faith in themselves until they made it. Right.
Yeah.
That it's that belief power. And then he talked about egos. Right. And this is huge when it comes to breaking down people who are successful. And he talked about anything you can think of, whether it's being judgmental, whether it is I'm better than you, or the type of person that's a know-it-all, or a shy person. He talked about that's an ego too. And he said, think of it this way: weigh your ego with your bank account, and then tell me which one is more.
That's a fair question, I think. For a
Right.
lot
So
of
what
us,
is
man.
holding you back right now? Is it because you're shy? Because we talked to social media today.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the Real Producers panel. It was like, Tammy Pack, who is this attorney real estate agent in Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
And she does this crazy social media shit. Like she takes around her cat and this bubble like carrier thing, and she did a Facebook Live, and like she made a comment. She's like, most people when they're talking about social media or whatever, they're like, why aren't you doing it? Well, I don't like the way I look on camera. I don't like the way I sound. She's like, well, that's your voice and that's your face, right? So you need to get over that.
Go get some more money so you
Right.
can change them.
So what is holding you back from that success, right? Whatever that belief in your mind that's holding you back, like you've got to be aware of it, and you got to make that change.
I think some people hear what we're talking about right now and think that they have to have like some negative thought process. It's like, I hear what those guys are saying, but I'm just not going to do it. Like, if you're the type of person who's hearing this and thinking the stuff that we're saying, like, if you think for a second that we're not self-conscious about the stuff we're putting out there, Brian and I put out a lot of video content. There was something we watched yesterday. I was like, you've got to take that part out. Right, like there's some stuff that like it's not about not being self-conscious. It's not even about like having the right answer or knowing what to say or doing whatever. It's legitimately about being. I was talking about this with Nicole Espinoza, who we're going to have on again soon. She was on before. She runs a group called The Only Short Sale Group worth being a part of, and she's been on the show before. She's super dope, right? She partners with Nick over at EXP.
She ripped off our group name.
She ripped off our group name, but she's a friend, so whatever, right?
Yeah.
She's gonna give
That's
us
the
some
thing that
money.
we've always said that though. I don't care what you rip off because we're gonna do it better.
We are gonna do it better, right? So
We still have better group members.
we do. But I think the whole thing about that is if you're the agent who's hearing these things, we are implementing stuff every day that we are not comfortable with. And the reality is, Nicole and I were talking today. Somebody told me 2 years ago that the concerted effort of my social media activity would get me the business that I have now. I probably wouldn't be interested in doing it, right? Like I'd probably be like, nah, I'm not going to sign up. If somebody went back and said, hey, here's what your real estate career is going to entail, and in 7 years you'll be here, I'll be like, nah, I'm good slinging drinks.
Yeah.
Right? Like I just wouldn't have. So if you're in that thought process where like, it just feels like it's too much. It is too much.
Yeah.
You shouldn't go from zero to having a YouTube channel and a person who produces all your content and stuff. There are a lot of steps in between that. The part that you're not getting, if that's your thought process, is you're not understanding the first step is you getting out of your own fucking way.
Yeah.
And doing whatever it is that you think you need to do, and stop thinking that somebody else is to blame for whatever, because they're just not.
They're
you're
just not.
You're the one at the end of the day who doesn't get to have the fun stuff. Nobody else cares, because guess what? I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
I'm going to move on from caring about whether or not you have the fun stuff.
Here's the, and if you want to like realize where that thought process is coming from, you have a really slow December coming up.
Yeah.
And you're still closing $1.8 million personally.
Exactly.
That's a slow December. And if you look at the three of us, we do not look like super high level businessmen. We're just three dudes that have been through it, and we're trying to pass that along. Is Kevin McAllister a fucking psychopath or what?
And we're off.
Let me take you through a premise here, Derek.
We're not talking about Scott the Duck anymore, right?
I am so upset and simultaneously happy that his name is Scott. I think that's hilarious, and it just sounds so thrown together.
What other name starts with S?
Yeah, like Scott,
guy named Scott,
whatever. Like, it's so ridiculous. You're telling me that this child, and let me lay out why I think this, okay? At the end of the movie, whenever he finally defeats the Wet Bandits,
I'm so sorry. What movie are we talking about today, Brian?
We're talking about Home Alone. I thought that was assumed.
Okay, sorry.
We're going from here until March. We're doing all Christmas movies.
I am terrible with movies.
because I'm a Christmas guy, and we're
I like that
gonna
we've
go.
involved D on this thing, and he doesn't not watch movies at all.
I've seen Home Alone.
He's like, I'm a millennial. I just watch YouTube, motherfucker.
Exactly. he's seen
I stream
reaction
people
videos
like you
on
guys to
YouTube.
YouTube. Then I go home and stay away from it.
Exactly.
We're going from here to March. We're doing all Christmas movies. You're telling me that in the movie, and let me tell you why. In the movie, after he defeats the Wet Bandits, or the people who will become the Wet Bandits in the second one, he calls the police, which is incredibly confusing to me, because he understands the premise of what police do. Yet for 2 hours prior to that, during the movie, he not once called the police when, like, I don't know, there was this van sitting outside his house for a long time, or
Two dudes casing
when
it.
the two burglars threatened him to his face like a half hour before that, or when he overheard them the night before saying they were going to rob his home at exactly 9 p.m. the following day. What is going through this child's mind? He understands what police do, but either he doesn't care because he's an insane person and he wants to fight them, or Kevin McAllister is under the impression that the police will only help you if you first put forth an effort to serve up your own brand of street justice, which is such a hilarious thought to me. What if the world operated like that? What if a 10-year-old kid called the cops and was like, these two dudes in a creepy van just said they were going to rob my house tomorrow at 9, and the responder at the other end was like, okay, we'll be there at around 10:30. Make sure you set up some traps first because you got to try and ride this thing out. That's how law enforcement works. And the kid was like, all right, do you have any suggestions? And they were like, paint cans,
Trash the house,
nails,
basically.
do some hot doorknob stuff. And he was like taking notes. He was like, okay. What a world to live in, Derek. Apparently that's the world Kevin McAllister lives in. And quite honestly, I don't think it's half bad.
Well, Harvey
I
just
think
said.
people should fight their own
First
battles.
of all, Harvey Holmes just said, "You're onto something, Brian," because old Kevin goes on to become the son.
Who's the son? Is that the dude
It's
from...
another movie.
Oh,
Is
dude,
where
that
he-
one is
like,
crazy.
It is.
You need
Is
to go
it?
watch that one.
Yeah.
Oh, is that another Macaulay
That's when
Culkin?
he goes. That was a creepy, crazy.
The good son. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the good son. That
See?
shit is crazy. So,
Maybe we found something there.
so just let's recap on that. So on Joey Gilbert.
Oh, I thought he was going to recap.
No,
He's going to recap
We've
the
only got.
shenanigans
We're
of
almost
Kevin
done here. We're
McAllister.
almost
Kevin
done here.
McAllister lives in suburban Chicago with his...
Scott Scrooge McDuck, over $60 billion net
He can
worth.
swim in coins, which is
So-
obviously a secret talent.
Yeah, how does that dude not break his neck immediately after diving off that
He
diving
can
board?
swim in
So
gold
Joey
coins.
Gilbert's middleweight champion boxer of the world, I guess. I think,
Probably
They
the
got like
world.
9,000 belts. I don't know how many of them are legit.
who then went on to become an attorney, one of the number one DWI attorneys in Reno, Nevada. So,
Seems like a good place to pick
Yep.
up drunk folks.
yeah. His success championship formula is make that move, just do it. So don't bust your ass and don't procrastinate. Do what you say you're going to do, and there's no place for a victim mindset. So
I think that last one's the big one, man.
That's huge.
If you find yourself blaming other people for your stuff, that's fine, but realize none of them care about your success. So suck it up and figure it out.
11. I got to go on a listening appointment, guys.
Nice.
well, speaking of listening appointments,
Take10.com. No. TourAcademy.com/Take10. If you do want to see how we're taking 10 plus listings every single month, check it out. It's a badass, I think, hour and a half long webinar, and you'll get a link in there to sign up for Tour Academy for $1. So check it out.
Plus, you get to see all of us acting like actual professionals, which is cool for
A
you guys.
rarity.
Very rare.
I'd pay $1.
I'd pay $1 to see that
What is
nonsense.
that? Isn't a comedian? I'd pay $1.
I know what you're talking about.
I
Okay.
don't know
Yeah.
who that guy is. So, D, get us out of here, baby.